of the regular meeting of the West Valley City Council here on Tuesday, November 13th. And by way of roll call, members of the City Council are present, with the exception of Mike Winder, who's asked to be excused tonight. And each week as a City Council, we take turns with the honor and responsibility of setting the tone for this meeting with an opening ceremony. And tonight, the responsibility falls to District 2 Council Member Stephen Bueller. So, Council Member, the time is now yours for our opening ceremony.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Sunday was Veterans Day, and it is with gratitude that we honor the veterans of our armed forces this November and every November. We are grateful for their service in protecting our nation and our freedoms. My father had just turned 17 when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. As he looked for a way to serve his country, he came upon and joined the United States Merchant Marine. Though not technically a branch of the military, the United States Merchant Marine provided the greatest sea lift in history between the production army at home and the fighting forces scattered literally around the globe in World War II. Liberty ships moved men, gasoline, food, aircraft, ordnance, ammunition, and other supplies and raw materials of every kind to wherever they were needed in the war effort. My father and others in the Merchant Marine sailed the same U-boat infested and kamikaze terrorized waters as did the fighting Navy. They sailed in Liberty ships, which were hastily and cheaply crafted, unarmored, steam-powered ships. My father served as an oiler, then a fireman, keeping the boilers lit and the ships powered. The Liberty ships sailed at 11 knots, with about 11 miles per hour, and were easy targets. Liberty ships were armed with one 4-inch gun at the stern, with which they were supposed to be able to hit a surfaced submarine. Later in the war, they sailed Victory ships, which had a top speed of 17 knots, which was a vast improvement. One of 26 serving aboard merchant ships in World War II died in the line of duty, suffering a greater percentage of war-related deaths than any other U.S. service. Casualties were kept secret during the war to keep information about their success from the enemy and to attract and keep mariners at sea. Newspapers carried essentially the same story each week: 2 medium-sized Allied ships sunk in the Atlantic. In reality, the average for 1942 was 33 Allied ships sunk each week. During the war, President Franklin D. Roosevelt proclaimed, "Mariners have written one of its most brilliant chapters. They have delivered the goods when and where needed in every theater of operations and across every ocean in the biggest and most difficult and dangerous job ever undertaken." As time goes on, there will be greater public understanding of our merchant fleet's record during this war. The words of President Roosevelt were prophetic in that it did take time for a greater public understanding, lots and lots of time. Following the war and for the decades thereafter, Merchant Marines were denied veteran status. It took until 1988 for them to be granted that status. And finally, in 2005, Congress had before it the H.R. 23 bill, the Belated Thank You to the Merchant Mariners of World War II Act, authorizing final resting places and national shrines, and with lasting tributes that commemorate their service to our nation. So with all due respect to the veterans of the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, and Coast Guard, I wish to honor those sailors of the forgotten branch, the Merchant Marine, including my father, who would be 88 on Monday, and ask that you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you for that Veterans Day tribute during our City Council meeting. Very appropriate. And what we also like to do is to we set aside some time each meeting for special recognitions, and as if a dignitary will come from out of state, or for the governor's office or our legislature. Also, for if our scouts attend our meeting. And we know you come to work on various merit badges, but we like to know a little bit about you. And so is this 2 different groups here or one large one? Okay, you could quickly designate a senior boy leader here to come up to the microphone and tell us who you are and where you come from and why you're here. And good. So go ahead, son.
Okay, my name is Adrian Gallagher. Our troop is 3629 and 3598. We go to Hillsdale, Montecito Academy, and American Prep. We are working on our citizen belt loop and pin, and we are here to see how government works.
Okay, thank you. And Scouts, for the extra couple minutes we gave you, you were very prepared, and we are glad that you're with us tonight to see the proceedings. And what we'll do now is go to a time we set aside for public comments. And it looks like there are no comments from the general public tonight. And so, unless anybody has come to make comments to the council, okay? And we'll move past that and see if our city manager, Mr. Wayne Pyle, has any comments to.
None tonight, sir.
Okay,
Thanks.
and then item C on our comment period is if there's any council member that would have need of making any comments tonight during this meeting. Council members. There are none, so we can move past the comment period and into our business for tonight. We have one ordinance to consider, as well as 4 resolutions, and each meeting, as we've discussed, we have some time to study these beforehand, and so we might move through these rather quickly, but know that we have had a week to study and ask all of our questions and be prepared for this meeting. And with our ordinance for tonight, Ordinance 1242, we'll ask the city manager to please introduce that for us at this time.
Thank you, sir. And as you mentioned, we looked at this item before in study meetings and actual other formal meetings as well at the RDA level. One of the items that we need to progress forward with this project, which is, by the way, entitled the Northwest Economic Development Project Area Plan, is to have that adopted by the City Council as well as the RDA Board. We're at that point in the process now. If I may just take a second to quickly describe what we're talking about. This Northwest Economic Development Area is a new industrial and commercial development that will be roughly in the northwest corner of our city along the 7200 West and 201 corridor.
Okay, council members, we've had presentations and other discussions in this and other meetings. Do you have need for any more information tonight to render a decision, or not? A motion on this ordinance would be in order.
I would move for approval of ordinance 12-42.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 1242, adopting the Northwest Economic Development Project Plan Area. Is there any discussion to that motion? Okay, seeing none, we'll call the question and ask all those in favor to please say aye.
Aye.
And that appears to be unanimous. Mr. Pyle, please introduce the first of our resolutions tonight, 12-153, please.
Okay, thanks, sir. We are proposing and ask for permission to buy a plow, bed, sander, and hydraulic system for one of our 10-wheel dump trucks. This will be used for snow plowing operations and other things, and it's paid for out of the stormwater utility.
Okay, council members, any questions or comments or motions on this one? As it's a little timely as we've had our first snow, so.
Just one comment here for the boys. This is a rather large truck. It says a hydraulic system for a 10-wheel dump truck, and so this is a big truck, and they're not inexpensive. This truck and the equipment that goes along with it is approximately $79,000. So they're expensive pieces of equipment, but we hope they last a long time.
Good points there made by Councilmember Vincent. Is there now a motion to be had on this resolution?
Motion to approve resolution 12-153.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 12-153, the 10-wheel dump truck. Any discussion of that motion? All in favor, then please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that appears to be unanimous, and we'll now move to resolution 12-154, please.
Thank you, sir. So we've got another purchase request along the same lines of operation, plowing and whatnot, but in a different configuration. So this would be a side dump bed, sander, and hydraulic system for a F-550 truck, so a little smaller, a little lighter. This one would come out of the Class C road fund.
Okay. Council members, any questions or need for additional information? A motion would be in order.
I'll move for approval of 12-154.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a synchronous second there and to approve resolution 12-154. Is there any discussion on that motion? Okay. We'll call the question and ask those in favor to please say aye.
Aye.
That also appears to be unanimous. Mr. Pyle, introduce resolution 12-155 for us, please.
Thanks, sir. So this would be another purchase along the same lines for plow, sander, and hydraulic system for a 2012 International slurry seal truck, also from Class C road funds.
Council members, any information or motions on this item of business?
Just another comment. It looks like this truck doubles not only as a snow plow, but as a slurry seal truck, so we're getting double use out of it. So I move for approval of resolution 12-155.
And I'll second with the hope that it comes down my street both winter and summer.
Okay, that is noted. And any discussion to that motion? You know, I'll just say that you know, one thing that in our city, and I'll use the Scouts here, but you know, I wanted to take an opportunity to mention this, is that one thing that you know, we get out in different circles and talk to council members or of other cities. One thing that I've always felt very comfortable in bragging on is our sanitation with our recycling and dumpster program and everything. But I think the close number second is our snow removal, and just how well we do in the snow removal department, and how prepared we are, and the lengths we go to not only plow our main streets, but those people in some of those cul-de-sacs that get in. And so it's a good forward thinking here that we're getting the equipment and ready to move on. And so with that, I'll call the question and ask all those in favor to please say aye.
Aye.
Appears to be unanimous. And we have a ratification of a member of our Stormwater Advisory Board. Mr. Pyle, you want to introduce that item for us?
Yes, thank you, sir. As you mentioned, it's a board appointment to the Stormwater Advisory Board, and it's Mr. Rich Kindred, who has consented to serve in place of our past member, who is William Olpen.
Okay, there are lots of good opportunities for service in our community, and this is one of them. And I'm excited to see Mr. Kindred step up to fill this vacancy. His motion would be in order on this appointment now.
And move for approval, resolution 12-156.
Second?
Okay. Is there any further discussion to this appointment? None, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That's also unanimous, and any need for executive session? There seems not to be any, and with no other business, this body will stand adjourned, but we do have a redevelopment agency that will turn over to the chair of that, Mr. Christensen. So this body of City Council will be adjourned.
We'd like to call to order the redevelopment agency for a special meeting. Please note that the roll call has everyone here except Member Winder, and that we have had an opening ceremony. We have a resolution, Mr. Pyle. Please present that.
Thank you, sir. So we have before us a request for approval for an agreement for disposition of land, or ADL as we call it, in which we would be supporting through the RDA another business development project here in our city. Mr. Nguyen has applied for assistance, and his property is at 1920 West and 3500 South. You were given a presentation earlier illustrating what's currently there on the site and what will be happening. And we endorse it as a staff and recommend approval.
Thank you. Any other presentation from me? Okay.
Not we can if the council has questions, but I'll plan further.
I don't think we have any questions, but didn't want to let somebody who was sitting out there ready to make a presentation go by the wayside. Any discussion or a motion?
As I recall from the presentation that we received in our study meeting, we have estimated that the increase in our tax coffers would be about $23,000 a year. So in approximately 3 years or a little bit less, we would have recouped our investment in the RDA, or from the RDA into this property, which is purely the financial investment, the improvement to the area and goodwill to the neighbors and other, I guess, loss to the homeless of a place to camp is a detriment to them perhaps, but the overall improvement of the area is a non-strictly monetary benefit that I see if we approve this resolution or this agreement.
Is there a motion?
I'll move for approval. Is it a resolution? Yes, Resolution 12-18.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I just, to add to those comments, I think one of the big improvements that doesn't have a monetary value on it is just when you're doubling the size of this plaza, that will actually be places for patrons to come and park now, hopefully, because that other one is so, next door is always so full that I think it's been a little bit of a damper to the area, that people come into the city to shop at this plaza, and it's so full, and so it'll be a good improvement for a very nominal investment on the city's part.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I have a comment. It's also on 3500 South is a kind of gateway from east to west side, and we have a lot of good things here, the track and the mall and paperwork station and other places, the hotel around us, and we don't want to, like Steve mentioned about the homeless, we don't want people, they will wander around here and kind of like scared or distract the business around here, and I think it's a good thing for us to get a swarm call, you know, going into demo and to get it going, so can have something up there for that area, and also for the highlight in our district right here.
Further discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Vote was unanimous. With no further business, we'll stand adjourned.